So I'm just going to check the chat, see if anybody's on, see if anybody's there. Pat sent me a message. If you're looking at the chat, Pat sent me a message saying that he might not make it tonight, but if he's there, it'd be good to see him. Pat's a regular. Pat sent me a couple of things as well, so it's always good to see Pat. And is there anybody else there before I really get into this? Maybe not. Anybody wants to check in and say they're there, or hit me up with a message here now before we really get going. So there's Martin. Good man, Martin. Well, I might as well begin. Welcome to Sunday Surgery Live with me, Dr. Lefthandthread. This is a live stream where I discuss the repairs I've got up to during the week and upcoming videos. You'll notice I'm wearing a lot of Milwaukee tonight, and I'm wearing a designer watch. You'll notice all this, I've got this going on. And the reason behind this is, yes, Darren, sorry about the Milwaukee garb tonight. And I'm just about to explain, Darren, why I'm wearing so much Milwaukee gear and why I'm wearing a designer watch. A few weeks ago, there was a guy in the live stream, Megan McGee, regular in the lives. He said that my lady viewer count was going down because of the Milwaukee hat. So I ditched the Milwaukee hat for a full month there. And the ladies have plummeted this week. I've lost about 0.9% of lady. That's nearly 1% of a lady I lost this week. So I've decided to dress up in all the cool, flashy gear that attracts the ladies, like the Milwaukee hat and the Milwaukee t-shirt and the designer watch. That's for the ladies, it's not for you guys, because it's turned into a bit of a sausage fest, if I'm honest, here in the live stream. But I might have to just work with it going forward. So it's been a busy week here in the surgery. I might as well get on with what I was going to talk about in the first place. I'm going to tell you some repairs I've done. No, it's not all Milwaukee, it's a designer watch. Look, it's designer. It's new because the label's still on it. Price is still on it too. That's for the ladies to see how much it costs me. This here, Darren, you will recognise these things. Darren, if Darren had a cup of coffee, he could do 3 of them before his breakfast, This one's fixed. And I fixed this one yesterday morning. I filmed the whole thing, and instead of filming the wee highlights, I filmed taking out every screw and putting every screw back in there enough. So it's a full tear down and a full rebuild and a repair in the middle, but the repair wasn't the important thing. It's the full thing for somebody who wants to know what way these things go together, somebody who doesn't know. And what I've done to that is, Darren might be interested. Those of you who are less familiar with these things than Darren, I'll have to explain to you what they are. That's the O-ring. It's called the 13x3 dynamic ring. Incidentally, I'm going to have to order more of them of you, Darren, because I used my last new one there. The second-hand ones weren't really doing it. And there's this here. This isn't 2 bits, but this is, as Darren could tell you, 1 bit. What do you call it? Is that the con rod or something? That was broke anyway, but I had a spare one in my magical spares box, which saved the day again. So it's not worth much anyway. There's a 33-minute video coming out next week involving that, so it's a full teardown for the novice out there. Next one, flex volt battery. I want to show you this one. This is a 9 amp flex volt battery, and the video's been out, some of you might have seen it. The video's been out for about 2.5 hours. I'm going to check in with the chat here to see if any of these are there. Broken ball, spindle catching, usual, yeah. That's commonplace in these things, these SDSs. But this here one, it's something you might want to look out for if you've got a 9 amp battery and it stops going. There's 4 screws on each side. you know, here, I'm going to show you guys. There's 4 screws on each side. And you take off the side panels. And what you're looking for, really, checking visually for broken connections. If the lady count doesn't go up by next week, I'm going to go back into the DeWalt t-shirt. I'm going to give up on the ladies after that. So, to show you what's wrong with this, if you can see that, I'm going to hold it right up. You see where I've soldered 3 of the connections? Them 3 connections were burnt out, but they're designed like a wee narrow connection, like a fuse, to burn out when she comes under load. And you can see that there. That connection sometimes burns out. You can see that's been under pressure. That's actually experienced a bit of heat. So that's what's wrong with that. And that video was out and all. So if you have a 9 amp flex volt battery, I've got a few of them like that now. Broken connections. It's quite common. Anybody else in the chat? Dr. Flexvolt. Flexvolt. Don't call me Dr. Flexvolt yet, because 6 amps are my kryptonite. If I'm Superman, 6 amps are my kryptonite. I don't know what it is about 6 amps, but I can't seem to get them to come around. What I do with 6 amps usually is rob the 2000 milliamp cells out of them and fix and build all sorts of batteries with them. They've been very useful sorts of cells. It's due to lithium ion shipping. Getting cells, good cells, is hard unless you've got a flow of flex volt, you know. Faulty flex volt are very good to have. Next one item on the agenda. We'll see. I'm checking in with the chat again, guys. Yep. This is a Makita, sorry. A Makita. I'm walking the brain tonight. Darren knows what I mean. Anyway, Makita G-type battery. This is a lackluster type of a battery. This is for a series of Makita that they brought out a few years ago, and I never took them on. I never took any interest in them because they were a DIY, solely DIY, and the batteries were not compatible with these LXTs. The chargers don't match. These don't fit the G series. These don't fit the LXT. There was no point to them. I thought it was a way of confusing people. Like there's somebody come on where I work and they bought a blower because they thought they were going to run their blower off these wee batteries. That was stupid to start with, but they didn't fit. They wouldn't have ran long anyway. Because that's only, I don't know if you can see that, a 1.3 ampere. Why I've got these 2 batteries, I'm not here, it's an AI. I'm not, I don't know much about artificial intelligence. I'm more of an AI, imaginary. My intelligence is imaginary. Anyway, that these G series batteries are 1.3 ampere. The boys been using them for 4 or 5 years. Flat out, the cells have experienced the end of their life. They were still holding the full charge, but they weren't lasting any time. They were bad to begin with anyway. So I upgraded them for him. Blonde-eyed brunette. Yeah, you don't know till you get the top off and the pants down. Anyway, what was on these was these little brown cells. There's Kevin McCartney. How are you, Kevin? What's the crack? Good to see you on the live chat. What was on these was these wee brown cells. They're 1300 milliamp cells. So that give you a 1.3 amp battery, which was knackered. I use these INR 18650 2000 milliamp cells. So I've put 5 of them on each one of these and upgraded to a 2 ampere with decent Samsung cells on it. So that's pretty good. The circuit board's pretty lackluster in that as well. It's thrown together cheaply. It's not dangerous like the knockoffs, but it's still thrown together cheaply. So hopefully that guy will come this week and I'll get these back to him to see how he likes them. But they should be a lot better than what he has. There's a DeWalt angle grinder video out tomorrow. I had the angle grinder in live stream last week. If you want to check that out, there's that coming. I've still got this Makita. I never put the brushes in it yet. So I might do a live repair for you guys, you know, just to give you something. It's not going to be the most exciting live repair, but you know, what can you do? This is the way it is. It's not going to really get you all excited. I can get that off. What I tell you is what I've done today as well. I think it's all this Milwaukee gears making me crap. I might have to take off this designer watch. I think it's ironically slowing me down. I don't think this is going to impress the ladies. I don't think it's going to impress the ladies at all. You get down to business here. Get this thing off. That's what it's sitting there. Get these wee lids off, I know. There. I'm gonna use small screwdriver here now. I had to give these. Aye. I think these are a great drill too, Darren. It seems to be a good big motor in there. Like, that's done a lot of work. Look at those brushes. Look at that. Look at those brushes. Sure, the new ones. I was hoping Mikey McGee was be on because he recognises this drill. I was going to tell him that his boss owns this drill. I was going to tell him there's £10 for the brushes and a £50 fitting charge, you know. Just to wind them up. I hope Mikey McGee is on the chat tonight because there's something. The main event is to do with him, anyway. His little Land Rover. Jesus, I can't do nothing tonight. I've hands on me for nothing tonight, lads. This is where I stopped live fixing, wasn't it? That's her. Bait it in. When in doubt, bait it in. So, let's see what the other one's like. It's that long since I did a live fix, I thought I'd have to give you something. So you wore them to one side, but they're down the same amount. I don't think there's a whole lot wrong with this. I think it is only brushes. I didn't open it. There's a mechanic told me one time you always start with the simplest thing first. And I remembered that. That seemed sensible. We all think about all these sophisticated things that might be wrong. It's like Googling your symptoms. It's that kind of thing. I'm going to blame these aftermarket brushes that I got cheap on the internet. I'm not blaming my own lack of skill this time. But they do bait in, so that's useful. This is not my most sophisticated fix. Hopefully I can redeem myself later on when I show you what I've done. Aye, there's a new subscriber there called Dave, is it? Dave D. Aye, anything you want to know about a 253, you're in the right chat. Anything I can't answer, Darren Irvine will be able to answer. But I'm not being big-headed, but I have had them to bits too, so I'm not a complete novice with those. So Dave, ask away. You're on the right chat. You have a keen amateur and you have an expert at your disposal. That's a beast there. How could you say that's not a good drill? I love that thing. That's fantastic. Trevor's going to get her back. It's going to be simple. So I want to give you a live repair. So what are we doing next? Yep. Parkside Universal Vise. I featured this on my screen before. The Parkside Universal Vise. I use this for what I was showing you before. This is a phenomenal wee handy machine. For me. Not for everybody, but for me. See, for holding these cells, it's got nice little rubber jaws. You can hold them together to get them spot welded together. Sometimes when you're doing a 4 or 5 ampere or something like that, you have to do them in banks of 2, or even if you're doing a smaller one like those little G types, you go plus to minus, you know. So it's handy for that. But that's not why I was featuring it. This one was sent to me from Germany. If you look, it's got Ito Universal instead of DIY vase. Smokes if you're on for more than 4 or 5 seconds. I would say you've done something wrong. You've done something wrong putting it together. There's a little notch for the fill coil, to go onto, and you have to get that lined up properly. So you could be rubbing against the fill coil. Did you put brushes and an armature on it, or what did you do? Or maybe the hammer's jamming up with you. The best way, if you want, did you watch my live how I was testing the motor? I tested the motor with the hammer stuff out, with all the cogs out, so she's just driving the motor. So you take that out and close the lid and try the motor on its own to see if the motor's okay. If you go to my live streams, it might give you a better. If you watch the video in the strip, I'll show you some stuff. Yeah. You watch the test. Your motor could be jamming up. Actually, your hammer could be jamming up and stopping the motor rotating. So that's why I'd want you to take out the cogs out and try to see if the motor's rotating itself. You can even close the lid. You can take them out and close the lid and wire it up and make sure, you know, you have to establish what's wrong. But I would say, I think you might have something might have got displaced in the hammer. You can ask Darren what he thinks there. Darren would know more than me, to be quite honest with you. If Darren wants to weigh in there, go ahead. But anyway, I broke my little first Parkside vise, and I complained to Parkside. But I broke it not by doing what I was showing you to use it for. I broke it by trying to get a chuck off a drill with it, which it's not meant for. So I complained to Parkside that it broke. I didn't tell them it was being rough with it. I emailed them, they sent me a new one from Germany. So that's good. And what's even better is I have repurposed the old one as well. Don't tell Parkside that I was battering this with a hammer. I repurposed this one. Yeah, check the spade connections in the brush plate, they tend to burn. Darren knows, Darren does this all the time. I'm only a keen amateur. Darren's the expert, to be honest. If you want to know anything about fixing hammer drills, SDSs, you probably have the best man in the country on the live chat there. But Dave D, come back to me if you want to know anything. I'll tell you to the best of my ability what I know. I have had them apart, and I think just could be something. If you watch my my recent video, the video will come out about 6:30 today. I'll show you how to service a hammer and what to look for. There might be more information than that, because that's a 273 I was working at, but no, that's not out till next week. I did one a couple of weeks ago. You might see that one. The 273 and the 253 are the exact same idea, hammer wise. The 273's got a brushless motor, the 253's got a brushed motor. The brushed motor tends to be a bit softer. The brushless motor is pretty hardy. So I have two of these little Parkside vices. I repurposed this one here. I got a bit of old stuff that was for the skip, and I drilled it. It was a bracket with this on it, and that was going to be 3 out, so I repurposed it. I put a bit of wood in there, hot glued it. So two of these little jobs now. And I don't drink or don't smoke, but I have many vices nonetheless. I was at my favourite budget supermarket yesterday, and I picked up another vice. It's only like what you would call a very DIY vice, like a lot of this Green Parkside stuff. But they keep drawing me back in, these Parkside people. They're like a drug. I got this Parkside vice. I'll be honest, I liked it. It might suit this little bench that I have. It's not a wild big bench, but it might be suitable for what I have here. Also, hey boys, if you're on the stream, give that stream a like. Pat, you didn't miss the main event, Pat. Just talking about some repairs I've done. Talking about the ladies as usual. I was telling these guys that I don't drink or smoke, but I have many vices nonetheless. I've ended up with 2 DIY Parkside vices through a series of unfortunate and fortunate events. 2 of the little money ones that I used to put cells together. And I've also ended up with this because I bought this yesterday, $29.99. That's a wee 4-inch vise, and the 2 DIY style. They even supplied the bolts. They don't want you to be, they just want you to buy the thing and go away. That's supermarket logic there. They don't want them to come back and saying, where's the bolts? It's because nice little rubber jaws, which you like. They could be useful. It's not going to be the strongest in the world, But for $29.99, it's pretty much all right, you know. I might do a wee review on that one until I break it. But it's a bit stronger than the other wee vise, because the other wee vise is only for spot welding myself. So that's going to be upcoming too. That's something I just could not leave Lidl without that yesterday. Just thought that won't go well in the shop. That is just for the doctor's surgery there. So Pat, good to see you on the chat. And for anybody, well, for anybody that's not, anybody that's eligible, anybody in the island of Ireland, the motor smoked but it's still working, so is the motor possibly damaged? It depends. It depends. Is the fill coil clean enough? It's not. There's no debris in around it. The battery competition has got 4 days left on it. There's 4 sleeps left to announce the winner. Thursday night, the 10th of August. So if you're eligible to enter that offer, that battery competition. Oh Pat, I overdone it a little this week. The motor could be damaged, but it's hard to say, Dave. Hard to say, but you need to run her without the. You need to run her in the test, definitely. If everything's lined up the way it should, and there's no oil debris in around the motor, you could need a new motor. But it's very hard to know unless you've seen the thing, you know, unless it's sitting in front of me. We'll go on to the main event. We're 27 minutes in. Let me know, Dave. Definitely come back to me. I'll try and help you. We'll see what we can do. Everybody give the stream a like. Only if you want to. Only if you think it's worthwhile. We're going to go on to the main event. Check the segments in the armature McNeil's larger gaps or race. Check that out, Dave. Darren knows what he's talking about. Darren's the guy I go to for advice. So listen to Darren. You're probably the best man to ask in the country on the stream tonight. So you're lucky in that respect. And I hope it works out, because I like to see getting your stuff going. So that's what that's why I do this nonsense. Anyway, we have the Land Rover Defender, and if you've been on the channel, you've been on the stream, I think I mentioned it. Was last week I mentioned about this? I don't know, but I was busy this morning. I did the conversion this morning, and the video was out in about 15 minutes, I think. The video on what I did is out in 15 minutes, but I'm going to give you a quick preview here now. If we look under the bonnet, we have a battery connector, and we put in our Milwaukee battery. It'll be alright now. Jesus, these legs are so dry. Anyway, there you are. It's swings and roundabouts, still reading another. The grinder of the mustn't puns, that was a joke. Before we go any further with this, I'm going to tell you the grinder of the mustn't puns. I need a flexible battery. This is a flexible battery, and it's got 2 slides here. A flexible battery is essentially an 18 battery until these slides go sliding in and these 2 connectors are connected. Then it becomes a 54 volt battery. But 54 volt tools have got 2 things to push on these slides and 2 wee connectors to join them. So Darren had a bit of a experience with a 54 volt grinder the other week. He couldn't get it going, and he couldn't figure out why. It turned out the two wee things in the bottom of the housing that were basically in the battery connector, they push these in. The customer cut them away, so it was never getting the 54 volt through the pins. It was getting 18 volts. The customer must have cut the pins out to try and run it on these 18s, which is not designed to go on. And Darren was doing his nut on until he discovered, and I'm proud to say he discovered because he looked at one of my videos, and one of my stupid videos helped one of the best repairman I ever met or ever talked to on the phone. So I'm proud of that. So that's why I had to tell you that wee story. Who we got in the chat now before we go any further? Right. Yeah. So this little Land Rover has the conversion to Milwaukee batteries. And I put the power plant under the bonnet. And there she goes. She's going. She's going with some authority too. So what I done was, and you'll see this if you watch the video, I put the battery connector there, drilled a little hole there, fed the wire down through the chassis, fed the wire on here, put a voltage dropper which dropped it down to 12 volt, which the Land Rover was designed to run on, and connected it onto the system. So why did I do that? Because the customer was trying to run this Land Rover on a 18 volt Milwaukee. He blew out the circuit board, so the voltage was too high. I put the voltage dropper so he can run this for longer on his batteries. He's got an abundance of Milwaukee batteries, and the little lead acid battery that's under the seat is a 12 volt 10 ampere, but it only runs the thing for half an hour, and it takes 12 hours to charge. So he's got loads of these here, all different voltages, or amperes should I say, voltage, amperes, and so he's going to be able to run that all day as far as a wee gear. This belongs to a young gear, doesn't belong to a wee boy. And you know, there's one drawback to this, and I must tell you about it. I'm fearful that it might over drain the batteries if he's not careful, but I'll tell him about that. This is basically the prototype. This belongs to Mega McGee. But look, you could do this here. You could put a battery adapter on it and run it off your flex switch. You know, it opens up a whole realm of possibilities of what you can do with that. There's plenty of room under the bonnet for all different sizes of batteries. He's got 9 amp, I think, in the Milwaukee, so he's got loads of power there. Somebody smarter than me could probably tell you what way the amperes goes when you drop the voltage. I think you get more amperes when you drop the voltage. Right, that's an extreme close-up. So anybody else in the chat? No. We're nearly done, but I will tell you about another. I got a bit carried away. You end up way behind. You might end up way behind because you're in Michigan. The Milwaukee sort of has the battery protection, but what I'll tell you about it, Pat, is with a lot of these battery adapters and battery connectors, you're only operating with 2 pins. They all have 2 pins. These have more than 2 pins. That's taking plus and minus, so there's no temperature regulation and there's no low voltage drop. But we'll see what happens. This is the prototype. I think I was pretty pleased with the morning's work, but I'm going to make no illusions to him, you know. You wanted me to get her to run on Milwaukee batteries, so I did what I was told. Back to where, yeah. Dave, what you do is to drop the voltage. If you go on eBay and type in 18 volt to 12 volt voltage dropper, it'll come up with usually I got that in one pack. Right now, I had to wait about 10 days on it. I thought it had been about a fortnight because it had to come from the Far East. It had to come from the Asian continent, as I call it. Because I think YouTube's got that bad. I think they would demonetize you for saying the C word. Rhymes with mina, Anyway, they've demonetized the stream for something stupid like that. But anyway, so that's what you do. And you get them relatively cheaply. But I had to do it with this Land Rover because, like I say, I blew out the circuit board on it. There's one more thing I probably want to show you. I'm just thinking I've covered everything that I have in my collection here tonight. Quite a bit to get through. I'll get through it not too bad. I got a wee bit carried away. I told you I bought the 4-inch bench press at Lidl. I bought something else as well. I'm not proud of it, but I couldn't leave without it. 2 or more batteries in parallel for longer runtime, less current per battery on the Defender. You could do that, but I'll tell you about the Defender. I put that 5-amp battery in it and put her, though she was under no load, I jacked up the wheels and ran her, put something against the accelerator and ran her for 15 minutes this morning just to see how she would do. And it didn't even drop the battery one bar. So I'd be thinking that it would run her quite a bit of time. I wouldn't be surprised if you get an hour out of that battery, or maybe longer. I must tell you my final purchase that I got in Lidl before I hit the bricks. Oh, I caved. I actually bought this and I didn't need it. There was kind of an argument for the vise because it's for the workshop and the workshop's been I did test the voltage with the multimeter. And the voltage dropper is putting out 12.2. Good guess, Pat. Good guess. I looked at the hedge trimmer, but I really didn't. Not only did I not need it, I didn't want it. I didn't need this, but I wanted it. 20-volt chainsaw. A 20-volt chainsaw. So I'm thinking the live stream next week is going to be focused around this 20-volt chainsaw. I'm going to try and test it. I'm going to try and test it on live next week. That's going to be the plan next week. I'm not going to wear all my fancy watches and and fancy Milwaukee gear to mess them all up. It'll not be a ladies show next week. Not before the ladies next week. Don't forget to give the wee stream a like, guys, as well. You can wish me luck in the stream next week. I'm going to get to grips with this thing during the week. I might do a wee video on it, just for other people who don't watch the stream. But I'm going to try and do a live test in this next week, and we'll see how many fingers I have after next week. Being a keen amateur guitarist, Dr. No Left Hand Thread, Dr. No Left Hand. Being a keen amateur guitarist, I'm fond of my little pinkies, especially on the left hand. So you can wish me luck in that. I don't think there's a very big bar in that, and I never took it out of the box yet. I might do a video during the week. We're done for you go in for what would you say, a bunch of bananas and you come out to the dinghy. That's legal for you. I went on to look for a 12-volt battery, which Lidl don't have a 12-volt battery now. They don't have a 12-volt battery. Because the online one actually only came yesterday. The online one only came yesterday. I was actually going to feature the lovely little machine you gave me, Pat, but I probably need to strip it down to see if we can get it going properly. Because the smoke. I need to fix that, or try and fix that, or have a look at least. So I was going to feature that this week as well, but maybe some other week. She still hasn't been forgotten about. And thank you for that, by the way, Pat. And a special thanks to Megan McGee, who doesn't seem to have made it in the stream tonight, for providing me with this lovely little Land Rover. That's been the source of great joy to me today, fitting her up with the Milwaukee batteries, whatever way it goes. And thank you very much. And don't forget to give the stream a like on the way out. Next week's going to be a real bit of crack. I'm going to get all the vices viced up and get somebody saw up with this old Parkside chainsaw. I've only got a 2-amp battery, so that'll be 3 minutes of fun right there. So thank you very much. Dr. Left Hand Thread, signing off.